The divine remembers itself through human consciousness. Man is not outside the divine story, he is its syntax, its punctuation, its recurrence. The soul is the recourse of revelation, the eternal returning through the temporal. To live is to conjugate God's verbs, to love, to see, to create, to remember. The divine image is thus a verb, not a noun. Not what God is, but what God does. The grammar of vision is the liturgy of creation, the continual rewriting of the word into the world. And when the final sentence dissolves into light, language will remember itself as God. From the family's hearth to the civic altar to the enlargement of religion and society, the religious idea in human society went on, therefore expanding at the same time. Every altar was an axis of kinship, every meal a covenant. The true chronology of civilization is not measured by years, but by the succession of ideas. The epoch of humanity, or the transformation of its gods. The first society was the family, a cosmos enclosed by the hearth. The family contained thousands, yet remained too narrow for the fullness of human nature. The smallness of the primitive family corresponds to the smallness of its divinity. Religion defined the horizon of the possible. Moral expansion followed theological enlargement. To enlarge society was to enlarge the idea of God. Every family possessed its gods, distinct and jealous of others. The domestic religion forbade intermarriage, communion, or prayer beyond the hearth. Yet human need, material and spiritual, pressed against the walls of the home. When men sought a God greater than their household spirit, society began. When men sought a God greater than their household spirit, society began. Thus arose the phratry and the curie, associations of families joined in a new common worship. Each association founded an altar, lit a sacred fire, and invoked a divinity superior to the family gods. This act marked the first extension of the divine horizon, the dawn of collective religion. The religious meal was the sacrament of unity. To eat what was cooked upon the altar was to share in divinity and kinship alike. Food prepared on a sacred fire became a medium of indissoluble communion. The gods received their portions, the men their covenant. To refuse to share was to excommunicate. To eat together was to bind one soul. Thus religion and nourishment became one act. Society itself sustained by ritual consumption. The meal was law, worship, and constitution at once. Membership in the phratry was hereditary, transmitted by blood through legitimate birth. Religion was the proof of kinship. Only the son of a lawful marriage could partake in its rites. Admission to the phratry required a sacrifice, a meal, and public affirmation by the father. If legitimacy was doubted, the members withdrew the flesh from the altar, rejecting communion. If shared, the newcomer became sacredly bound to the group for life. The ritual meal thus functioned as both baptism and jurisdictional act. Law, religion, and family were one substance. To belong religiously was to exist legally. Every fat tree had its priest chief, the kurion or fraterarchy, who presided at sacrifices. Religious authority implied juridical power. The altar was the tribunal. Assemblies and decrees were extensions of ritual order. Politics emerged from liturgy. The phratry was a miniature polis. God, worship, law, and priesthood enclosed. The governance of the sacred preceded the governance of the state. To rule was to sacrifice rightly. Justice was an act of ritual precision. Society remained theocratic long before it became political. Several phratries or curies united to form the tribe, a new circle of divinity. The tribe, like its predecessors, was constituted by worship. It possessed an altar, a god, a sacred feast, and a chief. Its deity was ancestral, a hero or deified forefather. The annual festival renewed the collective covenant through the shared meal. The name of the god became the name of the people. The divine transposed into lineage. The tribe was thus in a large family, bound not by contract but by communion. The growth of society mirrors the expansion of consciousness, from the household god to the god of the tribe, from private altar to public temple. Each step widens the idea of divinity. Religion evolves from the exclusivity to universality through successive acts of sharing. Communion is the motor of civilization. Theology, the architecture of kinship. The city will arise when the tribal altar opens to the stranger. Civilization begins not in the market but in the meal. The polis is the outer form of the inner liturgy. The family's sacred fire projected into public space. History is the gradual dilation of the divine image through human association. Each enlargement of society corresponds to an enlargement of God. From the hearth to the phratry, from the phratry to the tribe, from the tribe to the city, the sacred flame grows in concentric circles. Civilization is the slow awakening of the God who learns to include. To extend the altar is to evolve the mind. Thus, religion is not a remnant of primitive society, but its generative form. The true law of history, as men unite to worship, they invent the human